Welcome to the San Francisco Public Library Commission meeting for October 17th, 2024. The time is 4:30. I'm Margot Schaub, and I serve as the Library Commission Affairs Analyst. This meeting is being held in person in the main library Corrett Auditorium, and members of the public can observe the meeting using the Zoom system by following the link in the library's event calendar or by calling 1-877-853-5247 and entering Zoom ID number 882-5180-2173. Members of the public who are attending the meeting in person may provide public comment for up to 3 minutes for each item on the agenda. Library commissioners in attendance are President Connie Wolf, Vice President Pete Wong, Commissioners Ono, Lomax Giarduzzi, and Bolander.
I just wanted to add that Commissioner Lopez is just arriving.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the October 17th, 2024 meeting of the San Francisco Public Library Commission. We are pleased to welcome all of you here in Corrett Auditorium, and we welcome our virtual audience over Zoom. We have a wonderful meeting ahead, and we will begin with the Ramaytush Ohlone land acknowledgement. The area now known as San Francisco is the unceded homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the original peoples of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as the caretakers of this place. We recognize that we benefit from living, working, and learning on their traditional homeland. As uninvited guests, we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and wish to pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. For today's meeting, if you already haven't done so, the materials are available on the Library Commission webpage, or if you are here in Corrett, in the back of the auditorium. Today we have a total of 5 agenda items, and we will begin with general public comment. At this time, members of the public attending in Corrett may address the Commission on items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. Throughout the meeting, you will have an opportunity to comment on specific agenda items. However, at this time, we welcome your comments on any of the items or any of the issues. General public comment is now open here in Corrett.
Good afternoon, commissioners, library leaders. My name is Emily Garvey. I am the executive director of Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. I wanted to share about some upcoming events at Friends. We have Lit Crawl coming up. This is an event of Lit Quake that Friends participates in. Our event will be in the Mission on Saturday, October 26th at 5 p.m. Our 5 Brown Handler residents, wonderful writers, will be participating to showcase their work at Blondie's Bar. The event will be hosted by Daniel Handler himself, aka Lemony Snicket, so please come by. We continue to have our monthly book sales and pop-up sales at our donation center. These continue to be a success, bringing in thousands of dollars for the library and making many happy patrons. Our next monthly book sale will be November 1st and 2nd, Friday and Saturday, from 12 to 5 at our donation center. And lastly, Friends would like to add our own recognition of the contributions of Martin Paley to those that will adjourn this meeting. With San Francisco Public Library Foundation, Martin organized and managed a $30 million campaign to complete funding for the main library. Martin pioneered approaches that centered groups often marginalized in fundraising for civic projects and shaped the way that money is raised nationwide to this day. Martin's work is an enduring example for all of us who seek to champion and support the library. Thanks.
Thank you. Further public comment?
Good afternoon. Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004 at yahoo.com, and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544. I have a couple of points. First of all, Facebook. Second of all, Tech Week. And third of all, publicity and debookification. It's now 3 years since Frances Haugen testified at the Senate that Facebook prioritizes profits over safety. And by that, she meant some rather bad things. Since her testimony, the Surgeon General has come out with a report, and the press release says Surgeon General issues new advisory about effects of social media use has on youth mental health. Now, why am I talking about that? It's because the library continues to give unqualified and unjustified, unexplained, and unconditional encouragement to join social media. Get social! Exclamation point in this box in the At the Library Monthly. And at the back, as many times, and not just at the back, the logos of Facebook and other social media. What the Surgeon General says about that, while you're touting it, is while social media may offer some benefits, there are ample indicators that social media can also pose a risk of harm to the mental health and well-being of children and adolescents. You seem to be uninterested in that altogether. And you should be interested, and you shouldn't be unqualifiedly and without any explanation or warnings be touting that technology. Tech Week, pretty much a sales pitch for tech, lots of interesting information, a little thinner than the last occurrence, but in my view, very weak on the downsides of tech, in particular social media, and most particularly AI, which the head of ChatGPT went to Washington to warn that that could be the end of democracy and the end of the world. And now they're apparently going for nuclear power to be able to power the heavy power requirements of AI. Finally, debookification, the publicity that often is on programs and whatnot is very lacking in print at branches and locations, but not online. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comments?
Hello, commissioners and library leaders. If we haven't met already, my name is Jessica Parker. I'm the new development director at Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so thrilled and honored to fundraise on behalf of this extraordinary institution. So can you tell I'm really excited to be here? I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that we're getting ready to launch our annual appeal. So please look for that in your mailbox and in your inboxes. We're also kickstarting our annual fundraising, sorry, not annual, our gala fundraising event for the laureates. It's our signature event, and I'm really looking forward to sharing more about this as we move along in planning. And I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for your time and support, and thanks for all the amazing things you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome aboard. Love your enthusiasm. Any further public comment? Seeing there's no further public comment, the item number 1, general public comment, is now closed. And we will now turn to item number 2, which is discussion and possible action to approve the September Commission meeting minutes. We'll begin with public comment before turning it over for Commission discussion and action on this item. Public comment is now open on item number 2, the September meeting minutes.
Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004 at yahoo.com, and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544. I give that because, for a reason, and I give that typically at the start of what I say. And it should be in all of the comments that I've made, but it's not. You censor that. You do it only once on first mention. That's not summarizing what I say when I take the amount of time and effort that I do for that, so that people can understand how to get in touch, not just with you, which they know full well, but with Library Users Association, whether they agree or disagree with things that we might have to say. Your censorship of what I have to say is pretty shocking, and I think it is really wrong and certainly anti-democratic. You're, by law, supposed to summarize what the public says, and instead you give very brief and often incomprehensible summaries that don't include any of the specifics. You've censored out of my comments again and again the word Facebook and the toxicity of Facebook to all sorts of people, not to mention its addictive qualities that many people have been concerned about. So as usual, I've made comments about Facebook. They're not in the minutes. I've made comments about the incomplete agenda packet that I was sent. I didn't get the Martin Paley obituary this time, something that I've been concerned. If you're going to honor somebody, let people know what it's about and not leave it for them to try and dig out on their own, especially when you're supposed to be sending a full agenda packet to Library Users Association. There was a comment with regard to the strategic plan. I said it lacked specifics. The new mission statement importantly left out free and equal, and it left out free and equal access, and also joys of reading and independent learning. Those are completely gone in your rewrite of the mission statement. There was an interesting comment by a member of the staff, and what was left out there was that he was concerned about safety. And I think that's a concern that library workers have had as well as patrons. With respect to the city librarian's report, I said it was a shocking lack of publicity about the inauguration of the Maya Angelou, and basically no information about her life work or contributions, which I would like to see the library touting and giving information about.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment on the September Commission meeting minutes? Seeing no further public comment is now closed, and I turn this over to the Commission for discussion or to make a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
Can I make
Do you have a comment
first?
to make?
Yeah, sorry.
Commissioner Ono.
On page 3, under commission discussion for item 4, there's a incomplete sentence, so I say remove President Wolf. It's the last item on the commission discussion.
Okay. Any other comment before we? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the September meeting minutes with that one edit?
So I move.
Commissioner Lopez, do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Lopez and a second from Commissioner Lomax-Garducci to approve the September Commission meeting minutes as amended.
And I'll take the roll call. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. President Wolf.
Aye.
Vice President Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Ono.
Aye.
Commissioner Lomax-Garducci.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Bolander.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we move on to item number 3. This is going to be fun. To discuss the Viva Latinx Heritage Month, and I first turn it over to our city librarian, Michael Lambert.
Thank you, President Wolf, and good evening, library commissioners, library staff. Appreciate this opportunity to present on Viva, our annual celebration of Latinx Heritage Month. As you know, as part of Vision 2030, we aspire to facilitate cultural experiences that celebrate and deepen understanding of our diverse communities. The Latinx community in San Francisco contribute greatly to the city's culture and vibrancy. And this evening, Alejandro Gallegos, our community engagement manager, will be presenting on our celebration this year. Alejandro.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alejandro Gallegos with our community programs and partnerships. As Michael said, we're proud to offer at SFPL a variety of culturally affirming and amplifying programs. I'm here to share some highlights of our Viva programming, which celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month or Latino Heritage Month or Latine Heritage Month or Latinx Heritage Month. Sorry, I should have had that up there already. So look at that beautiful artwork before I go on. Starting with youth events, we hosted 2 authors and illustrators. As you probably remember, Cindy Santamaria is our wonderful 2024 Summer Stride artist and the author-illustrator of Yennebe's Drive to School. She presented an acrylic arts workshop for youth and their families, which encouraged participants to create an image representing their feelings. Robert Lu Trujillo is a Bay Area author and illustrator of the book Fresh Juice. In collaboration with Latino Task Force and Excelsior Branch, he presented a read aloud of his book, and he participated in juice making with participants. Of note, this event was held at the Social Services Center, Casa de Apoyo, on Mission Street in the Excelsior. Music performances and storytelling for youth continued at our libraries with Cascada de Flores on the left, presenting their original music and tales. On the right, great picture, René y Familia, a San Francisco-based 3-generation family band, and they're also, you probably have heard, outspoken library supporters, and they perform their music for youth. If you like, you can catch René y Familia on November 8th at Chinatown. Rachel Ann Palacios continues to teach at our library locations with workshops on papel amate and model magic alebrijes. The workshop on making alebrijes, which are brightly colored Mexican folk art sculptures of fantastical creatures using model magic clay, was held at Mission Cultural Arts Center in collaboration with Mission Branch. She also offered professional development training to youth services librarians on creating ofrendas, altars, with the community for the upcoming Dia de los Muertos. Library staff received an overview of the history of ofrendas and the integral parts that make up an ofrenda during this holiday. We were super excited about multiple librarian-led events offered with cultural humility by our youth services librarians. There were an abundance of crafts, food tastings, and sharing of cultural traditions for youth and families. SF MoMA provided select locations a kit for programming, centering artist Amalia Mesa Baines. These workshops from SF MoMA, from Amalia Mesa Baines, featuring do-it-yourself nicho boxes, known as small shrines, will offer library users a chance to create a small shrine of something or someone that is precious to them. We appreciate SF MoMA's continued support to feature culturally affirming arts and crafts at our libraries. And now on to adult programming. For the September-October On the Same Page, we've selected My Name is Iris by Brando Skyhorse. His novel explores themes of identity, belonging, and the migrant experience, all set against a dystopian background. The story's exploration of racial politics and cultural tension offers a timely reflection on the challenges faced by many in the Latinx community today. Our goal with these programs is to foster engagement and conversations around these crucial themes, with events such as the book club that we just held on Tuesday, and an author conversation that happened yesterday evening, in which the author was in conversation with Danny Trujillo. Oh, we were thrilled to offer an introductory Argentine tango workshop. I don't think we've offered that before. This was led by Camille Cusumano, a seasoned dancer with over 20 years of experience. This class welcomed all levels. No partner or prior experience was necessary. It was a wonderful opportunity for participants to learn from one of the best and experience the passion of tango firsthand. Sip and Paint. The Sip and Paint workshops, led by Chicano artist Eugene Rodriguez, will be a fun, creative experience where participants, regardless of skill level, could relax, paint, and enjoy Mexican hot chocolate and other small bites. Rodriguez is a San Francisco-based artist whose work spans painting, film, and printmaking. His most recent solo exhibition was at the Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts. Probably more important for you all, you can catch this program tomorrow at Bayview and on October 27th at Parkside. Sipping and painting. Workshops with Calixto Robles, our featured Latinx Heritage Month artist, introduced participants to screen printing. A master artist from Oaxaca, he is known for blending Mesoamerican myths, symbols, and ancient traditions with vibrant silkscreen techniques, and he shared his expertise with our attendees. Calixto Robles, he'll come up again. We hosted our 4th annual Lunchtime Poesia in Fulton Street Steps, which featured Bay Area Latinx poets. This was held on September 11th, alongside the Heart of the City Farmers Market and the Friends of the Library Step Sale. This program always brings a smile to me. It's our 4th annual, and Michael, you were there 4 years ago. Some of you might have been there. That was our first in-person program post-pandemic. So, let's see, I lost my place. Oh, here we go. Here at Maine, in partnership with the new partnership with the new Latinx Heritage Center, we hosted a special screening of Los Guardianes del Maíz, the Keepers of the Corn, which featured insights from director Gustavo Vasquez and producers Jonathan Barbieri and Gira Vallejo. The film emphasizes themes of food sovereignty, genetic integrity, and community ownership of native seeds. Latino Poetry, Places We Call Home. In partnership with poet and educator Leticia Hernandez Linares and Libraries of America, this initiative received a grant for 2 distinctive poetry events focused on the theme of home. Event number 1 on the left was at San Francisco State. This event explored home through the lens of Salvadoran poets. Hosted by Hernandez Linares, it featured Claudia Castro Luna, M.K. Chavez, and Alexandra Litton Regalado, who read their works and discussed themes such as eco-consciousness and gentrification. Event number 2 on the right was at Medicine for Nightmares bookstore. This event further explored home through Central American poets, also hosted by Hernandez Linares. It included readings from Claudia Castro Luna, Tatiana Lubovisky Acosta, Melinda Palacio, and Yenia Jimenez, delving into themes of identity and community. Both of these events were part of Latino Poetry, Places We Call Home, a public humanities initiative funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities and Emerson Collective. I skipped one ahead. So what I said was for this year. Now we'll go to the next slide, which is Latin. Okay. I think I got very excited about this particular one. Latinx Heritage Month wouldn't be the same without our annual Bernal Community Dia de los Muertos taking place on Sunday, October 27th. Everyone is invited. Led by artist and activist Calixto Robles, who you saw a few times earlier, attendees can contribute to a community altar by bringing offerings such as flowers, incense, photos, letters, sealed food or drink, and small keepsakes to honor loved ones who have passed. Music will be provided by René y Familia, known for their engaging performances of original and traditional bilingual music. You saw a photo of them earlier on the youth slides. Enjoy live folk traditions including cumbia, ranchera, and sones from the three-generation musical family La Familia Peña Gobea, slightly related to René y Familia. This event will be held outside the Bernal Heights Library on the Moultrie side. If you don't have quite an idea of what that is, think back a few years ago in our Grove Street entrance, we had an exhibit of staff, and maybe some of you participated with photos of people who had passed. It would be something like that, and here are some photos. Wonderful celebration this has grown into. So those are just some highlights of the Viva programming we've done and are still doing. I hope that gives you an idea of what our staff and our presenters have been offering to our residents and our users. And there's still time to catch some of these programs. René y Familia is in November. Someone is tomorrow. I forget who. I've lost track. Look it up on the film. And then on the 27th as well, in the Bernal Heights. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. And I just want to also take an opportunity to thank the Friends and Foundation of the San Francisco Public Library for subsidizing a lot of these programs for the community. As I think about our Vision 2030 plan, I'm really excited about our staff developing greater cultural competence in serving our community. And you may recall we had some internal organizational shifts that we're trying to develop, and I'm seeing it in this work. You know, we're getting out into the community more, we're proactively connecting, and we are centering the community with the programs that we're offering. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was really wonderful. Before we open up to comments and questions here on the commission, I will open it up for public discussion. So public comment is now open on item number 3, Viva Latinx Heritage Month.
Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004 at yahoo.com, and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California 94117-0544. I'm always glad to hear about programming at the library and what's going on. And this was what appeared to be a very rich program and extensive. Also hearing about what is coming up as well as what has passed, so that folks can still participate in portions of this that are ahead. One of the things that I have found with a lot of what the library is recommending and is highlighting is that it seems to be, shall we say, a little thin on history and the background, as well as how that might be affecting current affairs and what's going on currently in the real world of politics, as an example, as well as in society. So I didn't hear much that seemed to be talking about the rich history of Latins in the United States, as well as certainly in elsewhere. The roles in social justice, in movements like working and contributing to political and labor movements. And I think that that would be something that would be useful to include in specific ways so as to strengthen an understanding of where we came from and where we are with respect to many of these programs that we hear about and subjects that we talk about. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment? Seeing there's no further public comment on item number 3, I will now open this up for discussion and questions from the commission. Alejandro, thank you so much for representing the entire staff and the efforts of what they have done. It's really quite extraordinary and very inspiring and exciting to see what you've done. So if there's any comments or questions, Commissioner Lopez.
Alejandro, thank you so much for the report. One of the things that I do want to point out that when the library puts these events, it's for everyone, and language is very important. And I appreciate how some of the programming is bilingual. So keeping that always, because it's an important topic. So thanks to the Friends of the Library for sponsoring some of these events. The other thing that I want to point out that sometimes we take for granted is that a lot of the artists that participate are local native San Franciscans or people who have been in the community, who are activists, who are not just artists, but they're instructors, community leaders, and that makes it so much valuable too, because it's like our own San Franciscans. So, and I'm always impressed how the programming, it's so inclusive of age, abilities, and language. So thank you to everyone that collaborated. I had the opportunity to attend few. The poetry one was very impressive. You had, as a native Salvadorian, I got to see someone that I didn't know about that lived in El Salvador, who was participating from El Salvador at the event. And it really, I learned so much. So for all the staff, Michael, thank you for always keeping, all these things in mind. I'm very proud and honored to serve this library because the support is there and the ganas are there too. So thank you.
Thanks. I was remiss in not mentioning the Friends. I was also remiss in not at least briefly talking about all of the work. That was just highlights of different things. Our staff has done like 100 if you look at Viva and what we've done, there's a ton of work. Each of those programs for our staff is coordinating, finding out who they want to have present, how they're going to arrange that, how they're going to pull in an audience, how they're going to publicize this, how they're reaching the communities. So I appreciate that you also recognized that we're trying to be very intentional, and a lot of reaching those communities that you're talking about is not just us, but it's working with partners. And I tried to point out some of the partners that we had, big ones like SF MoMA, but smaller specific ones like Casa de Apoyo or Mission Cultural Center that we think, and the library thinks, is important to be able to reach people that might not come to us directly, but that is another avenue, and having these culturally amplifying programs is something that we're hoping that we get more San Franciscans, to participate and join together and have shared experiences with each other and with us. So thanks for that.
Thank you so much, and thank you for offering your perspectives. That was great. Any further public comment? Seeing there's no, sorry, not public comment, commissioner comment. So yes, please.
No, I was just going to say this work is just phenomenal, and just thank you. I echo what my colleague, Dr. Lopez says, the intergenerational piece, but also the focus on youth. We know that is critical. So all the youth programming and intergenerational is just really beautiful, and thank you so much for all the work you do. I know that sometimes you can do it it year in, year out and think it's not making a difference. And trust me, it is. It's going to always be new generations, new people, and sometimes people coming that have been for a while. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you to all of our staff. Like that, I'll accept that for them, but that is all these people at all of our locations doing all this. Thank you.
You know, it does take a village of everyone in the branches participating. But I mean, the great range of the kinds of programs you offered, as well as really thinking about all the different constituents. I also just love these postcards. I think they're beautiful. I'm so excited to send them out. And so thank you for providing those. It just kind of gets the spirit of what has happened to continue. I love the idea of, it's more than a month. This is not about just what we do in 1 month. And I'm really delighted that the 2030 vision is really focusing on making sure that there is representation ongoing for these communities, that their histories, their futures, their lives are really represented. So thank you. And please thank all of your colleagues, and we really appreciate it. And thank you again to the Friends for always making these extraordinary programs possible. We will now move on to item number 4, giving it right back to our city librarian, who had a very milestone birthday recently, but we won't discuss that publicly, except I just did.
Aging like a fine wine.
There's that.
So we now turn to the city librarian's report.
Thank you, President Wolf. We have a number of reports this evening, and I'm pleased to introduce our first presenter, Ileana Pulu, who is our acting youth services manager, and she's going to present on Summer Stride 2024.
Yay, and the crowd goes, yay. Yeah. So good evening, commissioners. I am excited to share out this wonderful work. And our celebration started in early June with the hardest working staff in our libraries, communities, and neighborhoods, really focusing on continuing to be literacy champions and cultural amplifiers in our work. Pictured here, we have some of the teams from Shine Day, that first weekend of Summer Stride that kicks off the glory of books and events for all ages. This year, we have some stats up there. We had over 26,000 participants with the age breakdowns, including children, teen, and adult, and over 18,000 finishers with a finishing rate of 68.5%. We love to see that number continue to rise. We want to see more participants, of course, but knowing that folks are coming back and finishing really warms our heart. And we also love to be geeks about the numbers of minutes read, because that's really cool too. That means that they're using our collections, they're spending time in the library, and we're responding to that. You can see proud finishers with their totes at farmers markets, international and local, or on Muni as well. In terms of understanding the reach over the years, here's a quick look at our total participants with the top end in the aqua blue and the finishers stacked with the white. We see the notable drop that happened after 2019 with the onset of the pandemic, but we also see the incline between the summers of 2021 and 2022 with the return to service and in-person programming. I'd like to note that the sustainable reach of 2022, 23, and 24, where we're seeing both the participants rise, but also the finishers rise. And that again shows that higher level of engagement where folks are coming to the library, they're participating, and then they're returning. And why are they coming? Because we offer fun, free, educational events and books, collections. Apologies about the numbers. Oh, with the little heart, that's why. But you'll see up there that we had over 700 public events for youth and family. And then we also had a number of class visits, outreach events, and self-directed activities, which are like the kits that we offer, things for people to do in the library, but also for them to take home. And on our adult end, we had over 300 public events with an attendance at over 7,000, and that was a combination of in-person and virtual. So really trying to meet folks where they are, but also bringing them back into our buildings. There were also adult outreach events, 25 with a total of 2,000 attendees. Here we have information, oh no, did I already go by? No. And then these are some of the summer stories. So these are some of the fabulous things that were happening at our libraries. Our partnership slide. So here we have just a few of the partnerships that we've continued to work with. But again, I want to note how they're engaging and re-engaging with the public library, where families, summer camps, school groups, intergenerational, multi-generational families are visiting the library over the summer, whether it's at the main library or a branch or the bookmobile. And caregivers appreciate the books, the STEM, the food, and the reading. So that's fantastic. Another hallmark of both summer and, sorry, I'm going to go back just to the partnerships page, because it's really important that we're able to offer the National Park Service shuttle trips. Those, we had over 77% of respondents were the first-time shuttle attendees, and to be able to give that opportunity to folks to visit a national park in their backyard is, you can't pay for it. Like, that's amazing to know that's happening for them. 95% would recommend the shuttles to a friend. We love to see that. And out of 5 stars, there's an average of 4.7. So we do like to try to get to the 5, but 4.7 is pretty good too. And then this is near and dear to my heart because I really, really love the engagement with teens and the work that we've done with youth engaged in library leadership and the summer youth volunteers. We've worked hard to make this internship that engages both youth voice and learning and community. Over the summer, we had 51 paid interns at 15 locations, and these interns represented local high schools that range from Burton to Balboa to Sacred Heart, Washington, Galileo, Ruth Asawa School of the Arts, Leadership in Lincoln, and Lowell. So you can see they came from all over the city, pretty much, and they were also embedded in the community at 15 of our locations. They met author, illustrator Cindy Santamaria, and they also met with author Maggie Takuta Hall. They visited the different behind-the-scenes spaces and heard from staff in collections, preservation, jail and reentry services, and mobile outreach services. These opportunities help youth understand a little bit more about the library. It helps them see themselves in the library and that the library is a place for them. We also had over 350 summer youth volunteers that were helping at 23 locations with the Summer Stride signups, prize wheel, raffles, all of that fun stuff. And this is fantastic for youth to see because they're going to want to do what the teenagers are doing. And so if we can have the teenagers there showing up, then that continues to create community for our city. Summer Stride went from June 1st through September 1st, but we reap the benefits all year round. It is an all ages program. We do definitely want to focus on making sure that the whole family, any age, can participate. There's the goal of the reading, learning, listening, and visiting the library for 20 hours, but it couldn't be possible without the partners that we have, without the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library, our fantastic staff, and our steering committee. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ileana. And my very scientific measurement barometer for success is seeing those tote bags out in the wild, you know, and I encourage all of you, when you see one, tell the person, nice tote bag. It just lights up their face. All right, well, our next group of presenters, I'm pleased to introduce our new Filipino Center librarian, Mel Reyes, our new Filipino Center manager, Jana Ray Cabrera, and our family engagement coordinator, Jen Wu. They're going to jointly report out on this year's Filipino American International Book Festival. Take it away, Jen.
All right, thank you. All right, my name is Jen Wu. I'm the Family Engagement Coordinator at Community Programs and Partnerships, and I'm joined by Mel Reyes and Jana Ray Cabrera. We're here to share updates on the 7th Filipino American International Book Festival, which occurred October 12th and 13th at Main Library's lower level and third floor Affinity Centers. Held during Filipino American History Month, Filipino American International Book Festival is organized by Filipino American writers and artists, known as PAWA, and San Francisco Public Library. PAWA is a nonprofit arts organization and independent publisher of Filipino American literature with the goal to create and encourage literature and arts for the preservation and enrichment of Filipino and Filipino American historical, cultural, and spiritual values. This event, occurring every 2 years, brings together an exciting array of over 60 writers, scholars, and creatives from across the globe, including the US, Canada, and the Philippines, to the San Francisco Public Library. I'd like to introduce Jana, our new Filipinx American Center Program Manager.
Thank you, Jen. Let's see. Again, my name is Jana Ray Cabrera, and currently I'm the Ocean View Branch Manager, but as Jen and Michael mentioned, soon to be the new Filipino American Center Program Manager. Thank you for this opportunity to share about the 7th Filipino American International Book Festival. This year's theme was Kaisa at Kasama, which emphasizes our community's diversity and solidarity and how we collectively work toward our overall upliftment. The weekend actually opened on the Friday before the 12th with a gala hosted at Centro, the San Francisco Filipino Cultural Center on Mission Street. Artist and chef Claude Tayag presented some welcome remarks, followed by cultural dance performances and some jazz music from a local jazz band. At the end of the festival, organizing committee members, authors, and invited guests enjoyed casual conversation and Filipino comfort food at local co-working space Trellis, which is also on Mission Street. Saturday's keynote speaker was Ninochka Rosca, renowned novelist and feminist activist. A leading voice in Filipino literature, Rosca's works have garnered international acclaim for her powerful narratives on politics, identity, and resistance. Sunday opened with Elaine Castillo, author of America's Not the Heart and How to Read Now essays, who spoke about the transformative power of reading. Known for her exploration of immigrant and diaspora experiences, Castillo emphasizes how literature can challenge dominant narratives and reclaim silenced voices. The festival featured a rich lineup of panels with topics ranging from historical and speculative fiction, poetry, publishing and book selling, to comics, graphic novels, and children's literature. This year's Phil Book Fest, as we affectionately call it because the title is very long, continued its beloved children's programming with engaging storytelling sessions and workshops, offering families a chance to immerse themselves in the richness of Filipino culture and heritage. We had 2 panels on children's literature featured writers such as Christina Newhard, Lenore Buntigao, Justine Villanueva, and Rachel Abalos, who all spoke about writing for young readers to cultivate appreciation for many aspects of Filipino culture and to instill a sense of home and belonging. Villanueva and Buntigao also performed story times from their recent picture books, which both highlight the relationships between children and their lolas or grandmothers. Now I'd like to introduce Mel Reyes, my colleague and fellow Filipino American Center librarian.
Good evening, Commissioners. As mentioned, my name is Mel Reyes, and I am the new Filipino American Center librarian. In addition to the panels that Jana just talked about, I would like to highlight the incredible adult programming that occurred at this year's Book Fest. As you can see on Sunday, the 12th, oh no, that's not it. That was the intergenerational. I'm sorry. So as you can see on the screen, on Sunday, there was a culinary panel featuring chefs and cookbook authors who discussed cookbook writing, how to get started, where to get ideas and inspiration, and advice about publishing. Another panel featured inventive and highly acclaimed writers who discuss stories where queer, BIPOC, and other characters in the margins fight monsters and explore imaginary worlds in the fantasy, mystery, thriller, writing stories that thrill panel. One of my personal favorite panels, entitled Closer to Liberation Showcase, Pinay Activism in Theory and Practice, featured some of the most prolific Filipino writers and scholars in the country, highlighting the intersections of Filipino feminism, liberation, and creative expression. And we also wanted to highlight our closing event, our Writing as a Catalyst for Change panel, featuring renowned authors Ninochka Rosca and Elaine Castillo, Randy Ribay, and Albert Samaha, who came together to discuss the role of writing in social movements, advocacy, and transformation. And in addition to the multitude of children, adult, and intergenerational programming that occurred, no Phil Book Fest would be complete without the marketplace held in the Latinx Room all weekend. The marketplace provided a bustling and an energetic space for festival attendees to support book vendors and community organizations and meet authors present for this year's fest. And I'll pass it back over to Jen.
So each Filipino American International Book Festival involves a community of organizers, library staff, and volunteers. The organizing committee is led by Edwin Lozada, PAWA president and founding director of the book festival, and Karen Llagas, the festival and logistics director. Retired Filipino American Center librarian Abe Ignacio, Jana Ray Cabrera, Mel Reyes, and I were SFPL liaisons on the festival's planning committee. Planning committee members include Beverly Perano, Maya Ong Escudero, Dina Clarice Dugar, and Troy Espera. And additional guidance was provided by an advisory committee. As you can see, there are numerous people providing support to this event. Much appreciation to Naomi Jelks, SFPL Security, Custodial, and Media Services team. The event would not be possible without your presence. This two-day event is a celebration of storytelling, culture, and the diverse experiences of the Filipino diaspora. The Filipino American International Book Festival is truly a community event, including the efforts of multiple library departments and Filipino community organizations listed here. The event is created by the community for the community. Finally, thank you to donors who support the big lift of hosting authors and creatives in the 7th year of Phil Book Fest, led by PAWA and SFPL. Thank you for your time. On behalf of Jana, Mel, and I, Maraming Salamat.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Jana. And congratulations to both of you on your appointments. This group, they are so modest. What they didn't tell you, this is the largest Filipino book festival in the country. No other urban library is doing anything like this, and I heard the organizers, PAWA, talking about this. There's so much work that goes into this, and that's partially why they space it out every other year. But there's so much love and gratitude for the San Francisco Public Library and our staff for helping to put this together. So thank you all. All right. Our next presentation, it was drafted by Dolly Goyle, and if one of you could pass me the clicker. Salamat. So I'm going to deliver this presentation in Dolly's absence. This. So this presentation highlights our recent expansion of automated book kiosk, the SFPL Bookstop. You may recall the SFPL Bookstop is a service that we're providing to extend access to high-quality collections for communities without close proximity to a neighborhood library. I'm happy to share that we now have 4 active SFPL Bookstop locations. Just this week, we installed one in Sunnydale, and 3 of the 4 book stops are located in District 10, with the exception being the Treasure Island location. So we are focused on the Southeast Corridor. We do prioritize equity zones, and we do consider the density of a specific area. So last year in February, we launched our first book stop in Treasure Island, the Island Cove Market. This pilot was our first entryway into the community that until then only had visits from the bookmobile 1 day a week. So today, the book stop complements our ongoing bookmobile service as we're able to provide the community new book offerings along with access to holds pickup and other types of library materials through the bookmobile. In September of 2023, we launched our second book stop in the Hunters View Public Housing Residence Lounge. Our Bayview branch and our mobile outreach team have shared efforts to provide weekly STEAM activities for youth in partnership with the Hunters View YMCA. And residents have expressed an interest in having the ability to also check out materials, which is why we put this here. So the community itself is located on an isolated hilltop. It has narrow streets, which pose navigation challenges when considering the possibility of a bookmobile stop. So this kiosk was perfect. Adding it was crucial to providing access to a curated collection of new materials for youth and families. And the Bayview branch and the mobile outreach team, they continue to deliver programming to the residents' lounge, promoting library usage and signing residents up for library cards. So just this past month, we launched our third book stop location in the new Dog Patch Hub. So this was part of an effort to revitalize this area of the city with a hub that would meet the community's daily needs, including spaces for convening, spaces for after-school youth engagement. So the Potrero branch is the closest branch to this community, but the 280 freeway and a steep hill kind of make access difficult to access by foot unless you already live up near that branch. So this book stop is a wonderful complement to the Dog Patch Hub, and it features a curated collection of the latest bestsellers and excellent titles for youth and families. Our commission president demonstrated how to use it that day. So we opened our latest and fourth book stop just yesterday in Sunnydale's new and long-awaited community center, also called The Hub. This is located in the heart of the redeveloped Sunnydale Hope SF site. This is combined with a recreation center and shared spaces with childcare and a Boys and Girls Club. This new facility connects the community with several learning opportunities. It's a perfect place to encourage building literacy skills and the love of reading. The book stop complements other offerings in this space, like having cookbooks for the center's culinary classes and materials for youth in other languages, such as Chinese, Spanish, and Tongan. The Visitation Valley Branch Library team will also provide additional outreach and programming in this space. Our collections chief, Shelley Cocking, she was a partner in getting this operational. There's also a community living room in this space that has free books from the San Francisco Public Library available for anyone to take. So we continue to monitor the circulation activity of our book stops. To date, we have collectively circulated 1,269 checkouts. Usage of the book stops are a collaboration between the agencies housing them, as well as our mobile outreach team that refreshes the collections, and the respective neighboring libraries who provide additional programming. So in tandem with monitoring circulation, staff have periodic check-ins with our partners to ensure the collection is meeting the community's needs. As we assess utilization and monitor demand for this service model, we will also track satisfaction with the service from our partners and the book stop users. And that concludes the City Librarian's Report.
Thank you very much to this really robust and exciting set of programs being presented to us. So before we open it up for commission discussion and questions, we now open it up for public comment. So public comment on the City Librarian's Report is now open here in Corrett Auditorium.
So much to comment on. Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004 at yahoo.com. and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544. I'm sorry that some of the commissioners aren't interested in public comment. There's so little of it at these meetings, and you certainly don't seem to respond very well. I see that Commissioner Bolander is busy making marks, and the chair is busy reading something. I only get 3 minutes per item. You get to talk as long as you want and as much as you want on everything. With respect to a variety of issues, Summer Stride is very interesting. I appreciate the statistics. It looks like more people than in the year before COVID finished, but fewer participated. I wonder why that is. And I was a little bit on the partnership page surprised that the very last thing that was listed on the page, as well as the last thing on the caregivers appreciating, was reading. Reading. There was a lot about the partnerships. There wasn't much about the participants and what they got out of it. I would certainly expect from reading, learning, enjoyment, a whole range of things, but I haven't seen much. I haven't seen anything, I don't think, about the participants, what they got out of the reading aspect. With respect to the Filipino program, it sounded very interesting and very extensive. I'm disappointed that it's only happening every other year. I think programs that are worth doing and worth doing with a lot of effort might certainly be worth doing on a more regular basis and annually, perhaps in a pared down version if that's necessary. The book kiosk, I think, is one of the saddest things I've seen. Unfortunately, I didn't see the city librarian, and I heard that nobody else had seen him either at the Hunters Point opening. The bookcase, it's a single bookcase, no instructions external to the thing unless you stick your library card in. Hard to see the books that are there. There's an issue with what's being selected and how. Why do we need that when we have a 9 blocks away full-service library with librarians and all kinds of programming and a huge selection by comparison of books? And it becomes quickly a mess when people take out and then return items. That's just some of the issues that I have with what...
Thank you very much. Any further public comment?
Good afternoon, City Librarian, Commissioners. I'm short, I forget. City Librarian, Commissioners, members of the public, librarians. I just really want to commend you and thank the library for Summer Stride this year in particular. As a family, I brought my daughter with me, who's a little shy, but we were very inspired this year by our chosen artist, Cindy Santa Maria, and she helped inspire my daughter to write a book. So it's just wonderful to have the library be able to do this for the community and really be able to, just diverse so much. It's a wonderful place for families, and it's a wonderful place for people to be in community and be able to find themselves and do better. Summer Stride really quick.
I just wanted to say that Summer Stride is true for everyone, and also having Santi Santa Maria here was a big hit. I was so inspired. I wrote a book called Cats and Kittens, and I just finished it, and now I'm writing book 2. When Chester, the little kitten, had turned into an adult. And it's true that kids do read.
Okay. Yeah, anything else about Summer Stride? No? Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing your thoughts, and we can't wait to read all of your books as you write them, and we know you're going to fill the shelves of the library someday, so with your own book, so we'll look forward to that. So thank you so much for participating and for coming and making your comments to all of us, so thank you. Any further public comment? Seeing there's no further public comment, we will now close for public comment here in Corrett Auditorium and open it up for discussion and questions. There's no question in my mind. This is a feel-good moment of so much incredible, extraordinary work from every department of this library. Every team member has contributed to making this possible. But I just want to acknowledge those who've made presentations today, because you really are the leaders who are making this happen. But truly, this is really a tribute to the entire library system, all the branches and all of the behind-the-scenes staff that make this happen, not just those who get to introduce or select a book. So I just want to begin by saying thank you. So I open this up. Commissioner Lomax-Garducci.
Very quickly. First of all, the minutes read in the summer stride, what a phenomenal number. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done. Summer Stride is like the rock star program of the San Francisco Public Library. And I just want to acknowledge our colleagues that have led this year's, every 2 years, Filipino American Festival of Books. As someone that grew up in Stockton, California, and grew up with many Pinays in a Filipino American multicultural neighborhood, I understood the power of the stories of communities that had come here. Many of them came in the early part of the 19th century and really came to the Central Valley and all throughout California, but also the Bay Area. And those are narratives and stories that so many people do not know. And so I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing to continue to support new artists, continuing artists, but also to share that knowledge and information with other communities who don't know everything about the Filipino American contributions, what the community has done, not only in the state of California, but throughout the United States, and the key role that the communities have done. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, Commissioner Bolander.
Thank you.
Please.
So as a fellow author, congratulations on your book. I know how hard it is to write a book. So it was great because today I went to the Western Edition branch and saw my book on the bookshelf, which one day we hope to see your books as well. So keep that up. So on Summer Stride, someone mentioned about the completion rate. It's been the highest since 2019. Obviously, the participation rate is a little bit lower, but I'm just curious if we know why the completion rate is so great, or have we asked? Or
Hello. Yes.
One more, I think. Yeah, right there.
So we can dig in a little bit more and come back with why from our data team in terms of why. I would argue that it's because we're being a little bit more intentional about finding the participants, making sure that folks understand the program, and making sure that they know that they can come back and do the rest of it at the library as well. So I feel like and it also kind of shows in terms of, yes, our total participants has been lower from 2019, but again, seeing that intentional reach that's happening outside, like right by the bookmobile or at community events or community affair, different community engagement opportunities is really making the difference. We also see that the people that come into the library and that love the library are most likely going to always love the library, and that's fantastic. But we also need to find the people that don't know about the library yet and get them in. So while it's a sustainable growth, there's definitely that finishing rate that we're looking at to see how much of the impact we're making.
Okay, and so participant means they signed up to do it, but do we have numbers on how many, like, do people, I'm assuming, go to multiple events? So it's like, although that number of participants may be low, the finishers, I mean, may have gone to multiple events, so the engagement, as I think you mentioned, is a lot higher.
Yes. So, and this is finishers and participants for Summer Stride specifically, the 20 hours of reading, exploring, learning. And then we also know that people are coming to events as well.
But it's part of Summer Stride.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, if we could get some more clarity on that. I mean, obviously, raising the numbers of participants is good, but the finisher numbers are pretty strong. That's pretty great. So good job.
Thank you.
Further comments? Commissioner Ono.
Hi. Thank you, Ileana, about Summer Stride. I was going to comment on it, but I think what was said by the public was a lot better than I can say. And for Mel, Gianna, and Jen, it's amazing that you guys are the largest in the nation, and you guys should be very proud of that. You shouldn't be humble. You should be out there waving your banner saying we are the best, because in San Francisco, the library is the best. So, and also for the books stops. I want to keep calling them book kiosks, but I'm very impressed with, you just opened in September the one in Dogpatch, and the number of people that have come and participated is just amazing in a month. So, but, and then Alejandro, even though I didn't speak earlier, thank you for Viva. And this just shows, like Commissioner Wolf said, the library staff is just an amazing machine. You guys are just, the things you do all the time is just impressive. So take a bow. Thank you.
So I'll just conclude by saying I just want to thank Ileana for your presentation and your really wonderful leadership. Jen, you always provide us with really great insights, and I want to congratulate Mel and Jana for your new appointments, and we really are delighted that you're part of the team in this new capacity, so thank you for that. I guess I have to thank Michael for doing Dolly's job today. So, but I...
Talk about just sliding in. Like right there.
But I also, throughout all this, we would see the emblem of the Friends of the library for your support. So thank you for all of that. So this is just one of these great moments to acknowledge the impact we're having, as evidenced by our young author at the back of the room. And that these programs matter and they make a difference. And sometimes we don't always know what they do, but we know somehow out there they are making a difference. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. And thank you to the entire staff.
Tell her to keep writing.
And keep writing and keep reading.
Yes.
Those are two important things in life.
Become a better writer. Is
So thank you so much. So that ends item number 4. And now we go to adjournment, and we are going to be adjourning in memory of Martin Paley. And I just want to say, as we move to this, it's just one of the great honors of serving on this commission in these moments is to learn about extraordinary human beings whose legacy continues and makes a difference. And there are so many unsung heroes in our world, and it's really an honor to be able to support and pay tribute to those that we know who have made an impact, even though we know every person has made an impact. So thank you, and I turn it over to City Librarian Michael Lambert.
Thank you, President Wolf. I appreciate this opportunity to pay tribute to Martin Paley, a man who contributed so much both personally and professionally in support of the San Francisco Public Library during his life. You all have a copy of his obituary in your packets, and I'll just share a few paragraphs. Martin Paley, husband, partner, father, and grandfather, championed the role of the independent sector, working with public and private sectors of government and business, successfully collaborating for the health and well-being of the Bay Area. Martin A. Paley died on September 12, 2024, at the age of 94. He grew up in Los Angeles with his mother, Adele Moore Paley, his sister Renee Stevens, and his father Noah Paley. He served 2 years in the Army, spending time in Korea and retiring as a sergeant first class. Martin graduated in 1958 from UC Berkeley with a master's degree in public health. There he met his wife, Muriel Henry. Together they raised 3 children, Mark, Daniel, and Anne. After beginning his professional career in health planning, in 1974 he became the executive director of the San Francisco Foundation. His mentorship and innovative funding initiatives influenced many staff members and community fellows who went on to become Bay Area leaders with similar views of community service. Over 13 years at the foundation, assets grew from $50 million to $600 million, with grants of $30 million per year. In preparation for this adjournment, I did some research leveraging Peter Wiley's excellent history of the San Francisco Public Library, entitled A Free Library in the City. Chapter 9, The Campaign for the New Main, chronicles the fits and starts in getting the new main library built during some lean years for the city and SFPL. These were times when the branches and the main were not the robust integrated network we enjoy today, and branches were threatened with closure in 1982 and 1988, the same time period when library advocates were trying to influence then-Mayor Dianne Feinstein of the merit of a new main library and civic center. By the end of 1989, Mel Swig, owner of the Fairmont Hotel, prevailed upon Martin Paley, former director of the San Francisco Foundation and a Library Foundation board member, to head the foundation staff as director. Swig was so enthusiastic that he bumped the foundation's goal from $20 million to $25 million, and then encouraged Martin Paley to add another $5 million on top of that to endow the library. Ultimately, the $30 million campaign for the San Francisco Main Library was a success. The development model entailed creating a series of groups representing distinct sectors of the community, which included African American, Latino, gay, lesbian, Asian, and environmental activists. This innovative approach demonstrated his inclusion of groups who had historically been excluded or ignored on major civic projects, and it translated to the way money was raised and the purposes for which it was spent, influencing fund drives nationwide. As we approach the 30-year anniversary of the new main library in 2026, let us never forget the contributions of Martin Paley in helping us to secure the funds to build this civic monument to intellectual freedom, knowledge, and learning. Let us remember Martin Paley for his leadership and advocacy during a time when our library system needed him the most. His legacy will forever be strong as many community groups continue to meet in the Paley Conference Room named for his family on the 3rd floor here. Commissioners, I appreciate your consideration of adjourning today's meeting in memory of Martin Paley.
Thank you very much. That was really beautiful, and what an incredible legacy and inspiration about the ways in which we can still lead our lives a little bit differently based on the integrity that he brought to his day-to-day life. Before we open this up for comment and for adjournment, we now open this up for public comment here in Corrett Auditorium. Public comment is now open.
Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, Library Users 2004 at yahoo.com, and P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544. Certainly, we support your adjournment in honor of Martin Paley. Unfortunately, the back of the room has a nice color picture of him on the obituary, but has skipped page 2. Completely. Let me read a selection from page 2. Martin continued to serve the Bay Area through consulting. This is the obituary that was provided with the agenda packet. Continued to serve the Bay Area through consulting and as a member of boards in the not-for-profit field. He managed a $30 million campaign for the San Francisco Main Library, creating a series of groups representing distinct sectors of the community, which included African American, Latino, gay, lesbian, Asian, and environmental activists. I think you mentioned those groups in the other piece that you mentioned. My recollection from way back when is that I understood that some librarians were offended by the advertising about this, suggesting that there were people who came to the library and had to take a back seat, a seat at the back of the bus, I think is the phrase, and that this would somehow rectify that. I don't know that Martin Paley had intended any such thing, and I can understand why librarians might want to be sure that people understand everybody gets good service and equal treatment at the library, but that was something that I remember hearing about, and that sort of startled me. As I've said before, I think that you should be not adjourning until you insist on having an item on the agenda that says what you want in future agenda packets. I think, for example, the question that Commissioner Bolander raised, which he credited to someone speaking about the completion rates versus the participation rates, and I'm glad he brought that question up, but that someone, in case he was too busy making notes, was myself, Peter Warfield. And you might give some credit, at least to the public, for having raised a question. And I also think that since you raised the question, it certainly raises a question that I've got, and that was said might be followed up. I think that certainly would be a useful thing to have on a future agenda item, just since you brought it up again after I mentioned it. And I think that that's something that you ought to reinstall as you used to have it previously. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Incorrect. Seeing there's no further public comment is now closed, and I turn this over to the commission. I know that Commissioner Bolander would like to say a few words.
Yes, so thank you, City Librarian Michael Lambert and the commission for honoring Martin Paley. I'm a friend of the family. I know his son quite well. Got to meet Martin several times, and he was a great man. Yesterday was his memorial, so we got to hear a lot of great stories about him and what he used to do, how he did all this and some of the controversial things he did. But more importantly, the thing that always struck me as people are telling these stories was he listened. He listened more than he talked. And I think for all of us here, right, listening's an important thing. But what struck me, his actually partner of almost 10 years stood up because his first wife had died in 2013, and she's 94, I think, and stood up. And you can imagine, being a widower as I am, it's a little bit challenging, when your spouse dies. But it was beautiful to see the commitment to community, and it just means a lot to the family. They couldn't be here, but on behalf of them, they thank everyone. And if I may, I'd like to motion that we adjourn in the honor of Martin Paley.
I second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Bolander and a second from Commissioner Ono to adjourn the meeting in honor of Martin Paley.
And I'll take the roll call. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. President Wolf?
Aye.
Vice President Wong?
Aye.
Commissioner Ono?
Aye.
Commissioner Lomax-Giorduzzi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Bolander?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. And before we adjourn, I just want to encourage everyone listening and everyone here. We have an election coming up, and I just encourage everyone to vote. It matters locally, in our city, in our county, in our state, and in our nation. And it's a privilege we have, and I just encourage everyone to vote this year. So thank you. The meeting is now adjourned.